Hello auties and allies. Let's talk about autistic feeding problems. Feeding problems, food avoidance and picky eating are very common among autistic people. I struggle with this too. There can be many root causes including but not limited to sensory sensitivity, anxiety, medical problems, and mental health. In this video I will only be addressing the first two. First of all, I am not a doctor. If you suspect that you have a food sensitivity, allergy, or autoimmune disorder, you should see a doctor for dietary advice and medical testing. But if your issues are mostly sensory or due to anxiety and the physical stomach-related manifestations of anxiety, here are 5 tips that worked for me. 1 is collect some data. Make a list of foods and drinks you can and do regularly eat. These are your safe foods or preferred foods. I called it my green list. Now that you have a list, you can see what you have to work with. And if you see a doctor or dietitian, this list will be very helpful to them. Even without them, you can get a basic idea of what needs work. Everyone's diet needs carbs, protein, fats, fruit and vegetables, and dairy or alternatives. Now that you have a green list, it is time for tip number 2, making other lists. You can make a few, but I chose 3. Yellow list is foods that are sometimes okay or tolerable if you are hungry enough. Orange foods are ones that are really hard but you have eaten them before or could imagine yourself eating. Red foods are ones you absolutely can't stand and are not even something you will consider. The next step is to start trying foods. The way I did this was very particular so that it was not scary or traumatic. It is very useful to have a support person for this part. Before we even started, I went through my yellow list and picked what I wanted to try. Then I explained the best way for me to eat it. For example, if the yellow list food I picked was potatoes, I might say that I want to try mashed potatoes with nothing added to them and I want them to be warm and have a glass of milk with them. If you are trying new foods that might be challenging textures, it helps to have a drink to wash it down quickly. We also planned in advance when I would try the new food so it was not a surprise. And I picked a fun activity to do while I try the new food so it is not as stressful. Examples of this are watching a show, listening to music, working on a puzzle, or whatever you like doing for fun. Then when it was time to try the food, we set a time limit. If I was not done the food by that time, I would replace what was not eaten with a safe food to make sure I still had enough to eat. Then we write down what I had and how much so that we can keep track of whether or not it is a good food to try again. For example, if I only had 1 bite and I hated it, that is not a very good food and I can decide to move it to the orange list or the red list. If I had some or all of it, I can decide to move it to the green list or keep it in the yellow list. It is very important that the list is not ever used for punishment or rewards. It is literally just to keep track of what foods you can eat. I do not support rewards or punishment for eating. It just means you are not internally motivated to eat what your body needs and makes you be completely reliant on somebody else to bribe you into eating. Speaking of motivation, my tip number 4 is to find your motivation for expanding your palate. Maybe it is that you do not have enough energy to do everything you want right now. Maybe it is that one day you want to go tent camping overnight but your only green list foods need a microwave and freezer. Maybe you want to be able to go to new places without bringing your own food. Maybe you are eating so many carrots right now that you are turning orange. That is a joke. Whatever your motivation is, it is important to identify it and remind yourself of it often. Right now my motivation for increasing my green list is that I want to have more options for when I go to school and have to eat on the go and without a place to warm or prepare anything. Increasing my green list has been hard work, but in the end it actually makes my life easier since I have so many more food options. In the past 2 years my green list has gone from this to this. I still have a red list, but that is okay. I don't have to be able to eat every food in the world. I just have to be able to eat enough foods to be healthy and happy with how much freedom I have. As awesome as that all is, it is not always perfect. Sometimes I have bad anxiety and then my stomach hurts and it is hard to eat. Sometimes I have an extra sensitive sensory day and everything tastes too strong. Tip number 5. Always have a backup plan. My backup plan is this: meal replacement drinks. It's not the best, but it is better than nothing. I can have small sips of it if my stomach is very churny, and if the taste is bothering me I can use a long straw so I don't really have to taste it. If you don't like Boost, you can try different brands and foods and drinks. Whatever is high in calories but not too much work to eat. The good thing about my backup plan is it doesn't even need to stay in the fridge, so I can keep one in the car or a bag at all times. Backup plans are important because nutrition is important. And for me, routine is important. Knowing that I always have something to eat just in case is very helpful for my anxiety, and it means I can stick to an eating schedule even in unforeseen circumstances. I hope you found some of these tips helpful, and I hope you have a nice day. Thanks so much for watching, and please consider subscribing.